I'm Kevin, and I'm joined by my co-host with Harrison Bader like hair,
Yeah, it's a weird ordeal. Katie is just proving to be childish.
which is why I don't feel I would give $5 million to Jack Campbell.
I don't know. Baseball is one of those sports where anyone who makes the playoffs really can be a contender.
I think the Padres definitely do it.
I don't think Donovan Mitchell gets traded.
Kyrie Irving does have the track record of not being a great locker room fit, or even good locker room fit.
Bader got some luscious locks. I gotta say it.
This is Zach Bigley, the broadcaster for the Frisco Rough Riders, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin. You guys better subscribe.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. Minicamp has started, rookies have started playing, and of course, we are talking about rookie quarterbacks. We have a list of 13 total quarterbacks, and with our predictions about this. We haven't done this in a few years. One year was when the Ben DiNucci era for the Cowboys, when we talked about Ben DiNucci, and I don't think either of us had him playing Austin, but he did end up playing because of COVID and concussion protocol for Andy Dalton in that Cowboys season. So who knows what will happen with this? And there are 13 chances for us to totally get this wrong, just because I have a lot of guys that I just don't think play given the order of their depth chart, but things can change. So I'll let you choose where you want to start for these quarterbacks. I don't know if you just want to go out and name them all or kind of leave some suspense to it.
Let's go from the end of the draft to the beginning. By the way, this is all the guys that were drafted, so no undrafted QBs are on this list. And the last QB that was drafted in the 7th round was Quinn Ewers. He plays for the Dolphins. I have him this year getting 7 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 874 yards, and then 0 rushing touchdowns and 48 rushing yards. You don't have to go as in-depth as I did, but I wanted to get as particular as possible.
So you said 7 passing touchdowns, correct?
Yes.
I also have 7 passing touchdowns. I listed the number of games. I said 6 games, starts 6 games, throws for 800 yards, 2 interceptions. And I said this number of games because he is in a Mike McDaniel system. I think it'd be good for him. That's why I see him getting more touchdowns and few interceptions. And I believe he has to fill in for Tua. So I say 6 games, and I just find it funny that you and I agree on the same amount of touchdowns for him.
Yep.
So now I think, who is the next quarterback? Because I have the names, but I'm not sure if I have them in draft order.
The next quarterback is Curtis Rourke. This is the only QB I have to not attempt a pass all season, but I do have him at -7 rushing yards because I do think he'll get some knees in on the season.
Ooh, okay. I just don't have him starting or playing, so no stats for him.
Okay. Next is Cam Miller. He's with the Raiders. This is a guy that Tom Brady really loved him throwing the ball at his pro day and throughout the season. I have Cam Miller only attempting 2 passes for 7 yards and then only 2 rushing yards as well. But I do think he may get some end of game. They're getting blown out or blowing out another team and get a little bit of run.
Yeah, this is a guy where if Tom Brady really likes him, Tom Brady, I'm sure, is a huge fan of that development. He gets developed. You look at the depth chart, you of course have Geno Smith, but even if Geno Smith went down, you have Aiden O'Connell, who still has some potential. I can see the Raiders believing in him a little bit more with Aiden O'Connell, so I just have Cam Miller not playing. I don't have any stats for him.
Okay, next is Graham Mertz. I only have Graham Mertz getting 17 passing yards all year. That's it. No rushing yards, no rushing touchdowns, no passing touchdowns, no interceptions. Again, this could be the Texans are just really beating up on a really bad team this year, and they throw him in because I do think a lot of young guys do get an opportunity to at least touch the field. It's just not all that long they're actually on it.
Yeah, this one, so I could see kind of where a guy does it. I see them putting in their backup quarterback. I don't really see them having this guy active. So I have Graham Mertz not playing as well. No stats for him.
Okay. Next is Riley Leonard with the Colts. I'll let you go first.
So yeah, this one he is low on that depth chart. However, these are some quarterbacks that deal with injuries. Anthony Richardson is dealing with injuries right now. Then you have Daniel Jones, who is also a guy that deals with injuries. So similar to Quinn Ewers, I actually have Riley Leonard starting 6 games. I have him passing for 500 yards, and this one I will go into rushing. I think he rushes for 600 yards. He scores 4 total touchdowns and has 5 interceptions. He's kind of in the same mold as Anthony Richardson, Daniel Jones. And given the injury history of the 2 guys ahead of him, I wouldn't be surprised. Or just the Colts could be wanting to move on from Anthony Richardson. They may not want to pay guarantees, depending on how the contract is, for Daniel Jones. I see them kind of riding with Riley Leonard and seeing what he does for them. So that's why I have him starting 6 games and getting 500 passing yards. I believe I said 600 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, and then 5 interceptions.
Yeah, I had him playing significantly less than you, but I had him at least starting 1 game out of year. I would say 2 games, though, by my projections. 3 touchdowns that are passing, 1 interception, 501 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, and 97 rushing yards. I also think that he starts at least 1 game in the year. They just have too many question marks at the QB position, even though they have guys who are established.
Yeah, and then I believe the next guy is Kyle McCord.
No, it's Will Howard.
Oh, okay, Will Howard. So this is another intriguing situation, as it is the Steelers. They do have, they just officially signed Aaron Rodgers, but I have Will Howard getting no playing time.
Okay, I have him getting a little bit. 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 501. Or wait, no, the 501 is from Riley Leonard, but I did 2 touchdowns, 1 pick was correct, and then 333 passing yards, and then just 12 rushing yards with no passing or rushing touchdowns.
Okay, now it's Kyle McCord, and I have him not playing as well. He's listed right now as the 4th quarterback on the Eagles depth chart.
Again, I think they could be just destroying some teams, and they give him a shout. I have him getting 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 400 yards, and 17 rushing yards, not touchdowns. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, so I know a lot of them I don't have playing, so I'd be wrong on if they get any of those stats. Not too exciting, but now I think we're entering the exciting range with these quarterbacks.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think everyone in the next guy, I think, will at least play significant time at some point, meaning that they at least get either a solid bit of starts, and then we'll discuss Jalen Milroe when we get to Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, that one should be fun, but I believe back-to-back these quarterbacks, you have Shedeur Sanders with Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's true.
And the one above him is Dylan Gabriel, and they're both on the same team. I will say I have both starting for them. I have Shedeur starting for the Browns 3 games, passing for 300 yards, scoring 3 touchdowns, and then throwing 4 interceptions.
Okay, I have Shedeur Sanders starting probably around 5 games on the year. 10 touchdowns, 3 picks, 2,722 yards. I think he really gets a lot of passing yards in those games. Maybe it's more like 6 starts. We'll go 6 starts. And then 1 rushing touchdown and 145 rushing yards.
Wow. That is the 1,000 passing yards. Because Cleveland...
I said 2,722.
2,000? Dang.
Yes. I'll say we'll go, like I said, 6 starts, maybe 7 starts.
I don't know if he's the right guy to fit in that Cleveland system. I think Kevin Stefanski is a great offensive mind, but he just hasn't had the quarterbacks to do it. And I think Shedeur is a very raw prospect and isn't really good following. I think he's a great improviser, but we'll have to see with Dylan Gabriel too, because I believe they both get starts and they play, I think, at least 4 quarterbacks start, as we talked about the Browns. And this Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur would be 2 of them. Dylan Gabriel, I've starting 4 games, passing for 400 yards, scoring 4 touchdowns, and throwing 2 interceptions.
Yeah, that mine's a little bit different, but I have him starting 2 games. I have passing touchdowns 2, interceptions 5, 1,014 passing yards with 101 rushing yards and no rushing touchdowns.
So you have Shador starting more games than Dylan Gabriel.
Yes.
What do you
I
think?
think Dylan Gabriel would start before Shador, but I think Shador starts more games, if that makes any sense.
So do you think he starts because he's better than Dylan Gabriel, or kind of the allure of what Shador could bring?
Again, I think
Potential-wise.
Dylan Gabriel will start before Shador, but Dylan Gabriel will, again, 2 touchdowns, 5 picks, will play bad, and they'll turn to Shador, and Shador will play well. That's what I think will happen.
Okay. I do agree Dylan Gabriel starts before Shador, and it kind of gets to the last resort of, oh, let's put Shador out there just to see. We did draft him. Now you get to Jalen Milroe, which I'll kind of let you lead this one because this is a unique situation of kind of what's been put out there.
Yeah, he's not just going to play QB this year. I think his goal is still to be a QB in this league, but because of Sam Darnold and what they have with the Seahawks already, he's going to be used in a lot of different ways. So I do have him throwing the ball a little bit, but I think it's going to be more of a gadget play. I do have him throwing 3 touchdowns and 2 picks, 814 yards, but I have him having 4 rushing touchdowns and 445 rushing yards. And this is the only QB that I have receiving yards for, and I have him having 192 receiving yards.
Interesting. And yeah, this of course the Seattle's new coach is from he was with Baltimore, so kind of the rushing aspect, and I think we did see Lamar Jackson fill in for Joe Flacco. I just don't know if the Seahawks, when he was the defensive coordinator with Baltimore, was there that early in Lamar Jackson's career of kind of filling in for Joe Flacco, because Sam Darnold doesn't really run, and they're really dedicated to Sam Darnold given that contract. So I don't know how many times he plays, but I do have him starting or playing in 3 games, 500 rushing yards, 250 passing yards. And then I have 3 rushing touchdowns, no passing touchdowns.
Okay.
And I think a better could be Jalen Milroe, kind of what we saw with Jalen Hurts as well with the Eagles in his first start, just kind of coming in, giving a different look to the defense. I don't know how successful it will be, but I am very interested to see it. So now we can go to the next quarterback.
Yeah, there's only 3 left. Next is Tyler Schauk. He's going to have the opportunity with the Saints to, I think, be their starter day one if he really does well in camp. So I have him having 7 passing touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 1,746 yards, 1 rushing touchdown on 47 rushing yards. I don't know if this is him playing bad or just the Saints having no real help outside of maybe Kamara and Chris Olave.
Yeah, I believe he starts all 17 games as he's kind of that day one starter for them, given Derek Carr and him no longer being in the NFL. So I have him starting 17 games. But I do have low sets as well. I've been passing for 2,000 yards, scoring 10 touchdowns, but 7 interceptions. I believe the Saints are going to be run heavy, and they really don't have that many great weapons outside of Chris Olave. So they're going to struggle for me offensively.
Yeah, I don't have Tyler Schauk starting every game. I think he starts, 8 games, and then they turn to either Spencer Rattler or Jake Hanner for the rest of the year.
Ooh, okay. I'm interested to see what happens. Now we go to Jackson Dart with the Giants. I have him only playing 5 games. This is a weird situation because they did sign Russell Wilson. They also have Jameis Winston. But I believe they go to him at the end, give him some looks. But 975 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions.
Okay. For Dart, again, Russell Wilson's there. So I have Dart throwing for 4 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 792 yards, 1 rushing touchdown, and 74 rushing yards. I don't know how many games he starts because Russ is going to be there, but I feel like if they do fall out of the playoff contention, that they'll throw Dart in. But again, we said this before, if Russell Wilson plays really well, they have enough running back pieces and they have a fair amount of wide receiver pieces outside of just Malik Neighbors. I like Theo Johnson, their tight end. I think their O-line's underrated. It's not great, but it's not absolutely atrocious like it has been in the past. And they have a good defense. So I think they're going to have a good chance, but if they don't, or if Russ gets injured, then Jackson Dart will have to perform.
Yeah, I do. I think it would more kind of be what we saw with oh man, I'm trying to think. Did he call himself the Italian Stallion? I know it's a Rocky reference.
I don't remember if he actually did or if someone else
Okay.
did, but
I think he was referred at one point the Italian Stallion. Probably did not go over well, but I can't remember his name. As Tommy DeVito. Kind of what we saw with Tommy DeVito, they throw in a young quarterback at the end because Russell Wilson's only on a 1-year deal, and the Giants may want to be cheap and not pay him. So that's why I see Jackson start playing 5 games. Then, of course, you have the number 1 overall pick, Cam Ward. I have him starting 17 games, 3,000 yards, scoring 15 touchdowns, and throwing 8 interceptions.
Okay. Cam Ward, I have having by far the best stats for any rookie. I think he's the only one that I have starting every game this year. I'm throwing 21 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 3,914 passing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and 194 rushing yards.
Yeah, I do agree he's going to be the best one. He's also, I think, this was a weak quarterback class. He's going to get a long leash, and there's a lot of potential with him. And I think Brian Callahan is a good offensive mind, and there's a lot to like about this Titans offense. I believe they just signed Calvin Ridley. Maybe Treylon Burks finally puts it together, but I like their running back of Tony Pollard. So we'll have to see, but I do think they get a lot going with the Titans, and he'll definitely get stats, but we'll have to see. So very interested, and it was fun looking, especially at the back end quarterbacks and seeing if they do play and what predictions we have. But I'll let you close this one out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please let us know what you guys think about all these rookies, which one will be the best this year and throughout their career.